Hi everyone, Linda here again with you from Gumnut Lane Jewellery. This week, back to a connector link. I think it's a gorgeous little one. I hope you guys really enjoy it. I can just see, so many possibilities for it. This is the little link that we're going to be making today. So it's, I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. And I'll show you later in the at the end of the tutorial a piece that I've started to put this into. So if you'd like to learn how to make this little link, then just stay with me. I'll get all my supplies together and we'll get going. Okay, so what we have here, I've got 3 jump rings in an 18 gauge, and I made those using this mandrel on my 6-step pliers, that one there. I also have a little 3mm faceted amethyst round bead there. Excuse me. And I have a piece of 18 gauge wire here that measures 6 centimeters, which is 2 3/8 of an inch. Then I have a piece of 22 gauge, which measures 20 centimeters, which is 7 7/8 of an inch. And then I have a piece of 28 gauge that measures 15 centimeters, and that's 5 7/8. I think I got that all right. I'll write it down the bottom in the description anyway. Okay, so let's get started on this. I'll just move these aside here. Those little guys out of the way. Now we're going to straighten this piece of wire here. So I've got my piece of cardboard that I straighten on. You don't need to use a piece of cardboard. You can just use your desktop, like a flat hard surface. And a roll of wire here. And I'm just going to start that in the middle. Get this going. Sometimes it can take a bit to get going. And it will flip around. And if it's a little bit harder like mine is at the moment, of course it is because I'm doing it on a video, you just straighten it out a little bit more with your fingers. Just take out any big bends. Okay, there we go. Stay there. So I'm starting from the middle and just working out, coming back down. All right, he looks straight enough. Okay, put that away. Now I want my block and metal hammer. I'm placing this on here. And again, I'm just going to start in the center and just lightly tapping. Don't, take all your aggressions out on this one. And make sure you're holding your hammer properly. Your hammer's got a long handle on this for a reason. And you don't want to be holding it up here and hammering like that. You hold it on the end and you let the hammer do all the weight. So it's just, if you can see my hand there, it's just flopping up and down. That's all you need. You don't want to cause yourself RSI or anything like that, carpal tunnel. Okay, I'm going to turn that around. Just give it a little bit more up this end here. And sorry if you don't like the hammering noise, but I had to explain that as I was going along. So it's not perfectly straight, but we'll give it a go and see if we can straighten that up a little bit more. That's just from hammering that it moves out of shape there. So I'm just going to grab my, where are they? There we go. My flat nose pliers. I'm just going to see if I can straighten that up a little bit. Oops. Without mashing it. Okay, that looks better. All right, then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and finding the back of my work, I'm going to turn a loop. and I'm going to turn it into an eye pin. I'm just closing that loop up a bit more, and there we go. Got a perfect eye pin, and it looks like that. All right, we can put him aside for a moment. I'm going to grab my 3 jump rings and my flat nose and bent nose pliers. We're going to turn this into a Mobius. So you just want to close that one up, get it nicely closed. Grab another one, open it, connect it to the other one, and close it up nicely. Then your last one, open that one up. Now this time you have to come in between the 2 rings. So I'm going to try and, if you can see how they're sitting there like that, and you've got your gap in the middle, come in through that gap like that, and then close that one up. Okay, then put it on your bench and just push it around. Sometimes it falls into place straight away. Other times you have to fiddle around with it to get it to sit in like a nice little rose. Again with the roses. I must have roses on the brain lately. Into a nice little rose shape. And this one's not going to do it for me. Just fiddle it around. There we go. See, that's a nice little rose shape there. I'm going to grab my piece of 28 gauge wire now. And I'm going to come through and underneath, in between those, in the middle of those 3 rings. And I'm going to bring it down to the center of my 28 gauge wire here. Roughly the center. It doesn't have to be exact. Holding that in place and in shape, bring your 28 gauge wire around and up and through the center of all 3 rings. Grab a pair of pliers if you need to. Grab hold of the end of that wire, pull it through a little bit. I'm just going to feed it through a little bit. And then grab this end of my wire again and pull hard. Okay, we've got a nice little loop there. Then we're going to turn it over, bring this wire back. I'm going to grab my bead and trying to find the hole on. Just watch Linda push the bead around the table. There we go, I got it. Let it slide down into place. You might have to give it a little bit of a helping hand. There we go, that's sitting nicely in place. Now bring this wire around and up and through. Just push your bead over to one side of, just with my thumb, just move my bead over slightly so I can get up in between those 3 rings and up the side of the bead there. Bringing that through. Once again, feed it through. And then grabbing the end of my wire and holding all of this in place, give it a tug. And it should sit nicely in place like that. Okay, then we can put that one aside. Grabbing back our original frame here and our 22 gauge wire. I'm holding it with the right side up and finding the middle of my 22 gauge wire here. Again, just roughly, it doesn't have to be exact. And holding that with my thumb, I'm going to bring this one around and up and over, and then grabbing hold of the other way, bringing this one up, around and over. Just straighten out your wire if you need to. Then I'm going to turn it over, grab a pair of pliers, and I'm just going to pull these two up together. And then you can straighten it on this side. Get those wraps nice. And then finding the center, or roughly the center, you'll still be able to move it, but finding the center of your 18 gauge frame there. Then we're going to press it down. Just like that, to hold it into place. It's still movable, so if you need to move it to center when we get to the end, you can still do that. So now I'm going to grab my little rosette Mobius here, place it in the center of that wire, holding onto it with my thumb, bringing this 28 gauge around, and we're just going to wrap it 3-4 times, whatever you feel you want to do. It doesn't matter. It's not seen anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Again, just making sure everything's in place, then holding it with your thumb and doing the same thing on the other side. Okay, turning it over, and I'm just going to twist off these ends. Oh, I bent my frame then, but that's all right, it's good. Oh, there it came off anyway. Okay, something's always got to go wrong in these videos, isn't it? It's just, it must be Murphy's Law or something. I've got no idea. All I can do is laugh about it now. It used to upset me, but I'm not going to let it upset me anymore. Oh, and I didn't get that really well. See there, I've got that wire up on top, but of course it happens because it's on camera, where my other ones are perfect that I did off camera. But anyway, what do you do? Just make sure your bead's placed in the best position before you wrap that last wrap around. I didn't pay close enough attention to that, but I'm not going to undo it now. Okay, so we've got these two 22 gauge wires coming out the side here, and I'm just going to look at the back and make sure this one here is the closest to that end and this one here is the closest to that end. So I'm going to wrap with this wire first. I'm going to bring it up and over the top. How far out you bring it is up to you. I'm just looking to see what I like. It doesn't really matter. Okay, I'm going to hold it there, and I'm going to grab my flat nose pliers, and I'm going to hold the frame and the wire in place there like that. Bring this around, wrap it around the top, bring it back over, but just to the middle of the wrap, to the middle of the frame, not all the way over. And I'm going to grab it here to hold on to it. Bring this wire so it crosses at the top there like that. I mean, you can make any pattern up here that you like. You don't have to do it this way that I'm doing it. That's, totally up to you. You just have a look and see what you think looks nice. Okay, I want this wire back over the back of that one. Just put that down for a sec while I maneuver this around and see what I like. Yeah, that one's on this side here is out too far. I don't like that. So I'm just going to push it back in. Grab hold of this wire here and pull it back over. And remember, it doesn't have to be all neat and tidy. Unless you want it that way, then you spend as much time as you like doing it, but that's not my thing. All right, got hold of that. So I'm going to bring this wire around the back now. And hold on, just let me get holding all three of those wires like that. It's still too far out for me. I don't like that. I'm going to grab hold of it with my another pair of pliers. And just bring that in a little bit there. That looks better. Okay, so I'm going to bring this wire around. I'm going to do it with my pliers just to make sure I get a nice tight wrap. I'm actually holding on tightly with my left hand and pulling with my right hand here to get that up nice and tight and around. When I say tight, I'm holding it tight, I am, but my hands just feel a bit weak today. 2 to 3 times, whatever, you know, you think looks nice. Okay, let me take a look at that. Yeah, I like the way that looks. I don't like it to be, you know, too neat. And this has come over to the side, but I'm not going to worry about that now. I'm going to cut this wire off, and I'll fix that Mobius in a minute. Tuck our wire down. Come over to the front. And I'm going to grab that so I know I've got it facing the right way. Actually, it might be better if I grab it up here. Yep. And I'm just going to pull my Mobius back over to the front. Okay, he's sitting front now. I'm going to push it back up a little bit if I need to. Look, pliers falling off my rack. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Still not 100% straight, but I can fix that up when I come to the other end. So we're up to the other end. I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, put these guys away. Round nose pliers, and I'm going to turn a loop on this end. Bend it back. Take it off, have a look at it. Close it up. Check that it's straight. That looks pretty good. Okay, then we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. So you just bring it up, bring it around, grab a pair of pliers, holding onto it, wrap around and around again, and just stopping there in the middle of your frame. Holding onto it again, bringing this down so it crosses at the top. Give it a little bit of a curve if you want to. Holding on there, coming around from the back. I'm going to grab another pair of pliers. And wrap that, pull it nice and tight, wrap that over. And then cut it off at the back. And then tap it down. Where is it? There it is. Okay, just check, make sure you can't feel anything, which you can't. Okay, now I'm just going to check it. Move my Mobius so I think that it's sitting nicely in the center. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's not one of my better ones, but it's not too bad. You get the idea of it anyway. I'm going to flatten these down a little bit here. I don't like those sitting up. And most of the other ones I only did 2 wraps around this center part here, so that looks a little bit thick. It's not the look I was actually going for, but I don't mind it. It's, you know, it's fine. And nobody's going to pick it up except me or you if you're making it. Pull that in a little bit. That one looks pretty good at that end. So that's our little connector link for this week. Now I think this is a beautiful way to add a bead to a chain without doing a wire wrapped bead, which I'm a little bit over that look at the moment. That's just me, you know, you may love it, but I'm over it. So I wanted to add beads, but I didn't want it to be just a wire wrapped bead here and there. So when we come back, I'll show you a necklace that I've started to put together, and just to give you an idea of the look that I'm going for. And then you can sort of get an idea for something that, you know, you may want to put together. But this could make like a beautiful earring. You could just add a drop at the bottom, add your ear wire, and, you know, away you go. But as I said, make sure that you pull this bead when you've threaded it onto your wire. Just spend a little bit more time than what I did to get that to, so that your bead sits nicely in the center without having this wire sticking up over the top. I'll show you this one here. I think I've got one here that you can see that, yeah. So that one sits nicely. There's no wire on top. Yeah, so just spend a little bit more time doing that than what I did. Okay, so when we come back, I shall show you this necklace that I've started to put together. It's not finished, but it's getting there. Okay, back with you, and this is the chain that I've started to put together. So what I've done is I've added some roller chain that I made myself using I think it's either 16 or 18 gauge half round wire, either one, and I used this mandrel here to make my roller chain. So I've just done like I think 8 or 9 links, 9 I think it was, in between, with a 16 gauge jump ring that I used. That mandrel, I'm pretty sure I used that mandrel there to make those, and I just did that just for a little bit of interest, rather than just joining the chain directly onto the link itself, the connector link. But as you can see, it's coming together nicely. It's just going to be a short chain around, like just sitting probably a 20 inch, 18 or 20 inch necklace it'll end up being. This is the one that we made in the tutorial, so that will get added on up there somewhere. And I just thought you could also make this link, especially if you're doing a shorter chain. I made a smaller one here, so you could do a you know, a smaller link and have more of them going around, you know, if that's what you would like to do. But these would look absolutely gorgeous in a really long chain as well, or as I said, in an earring. You could also you could even do it if you wanted to do a minimalist type bracelet. Obviously just bend this. I'm not going to do it here, but bend it so it conforms to the shape of your wrist, and then just add a chain going around the back, just for a very minimalist, you know, if you've got someone in your family you're looking for a Christmas present for them, and they're a minimalist, this would make a beautiful bracelet. So, you know, that's another idea for you there. All right, okay, so that's it for me. As I said, I'm moving. My little house is all finished now, but we had a little bit rainy weather there, so all the ground around it at the moment is like clay. So it's gonna I need it to dry out before I can move in. Otherwise I can't get into it. Yeah, so I got this video out this week, but I'm not sure whether I'll get one out for next week. I'm going to do my best, but if I can't, then I'm sorry about that. Just, you know, check back and see when I've popped one out. Yeah, okay, Facebook group, if you'd like to join my free Facebook group, I'll leave a link down the bottom in the description for that. It's a totally private group, so it's a very safe group. You know, you're not going to get scammed or spammed or anything like that in the group. Just, it's there to show your work, to get advice, to get inspiration, you know, all of that type of thing. So if you'd like to join that, as I said down the bottom, I will leave a link to that. That's all I can think of to say to you now. So, all right, guys, take it easy. I'll catch you when I can. And everybody stay safe and go out there and make something beautiful. And make sure you're having fun while you're doing it. Bye, guys.